The Singapore banks DBS, OCBC and UOB have surged to a new high over the past few weeks due to record results that were announced. So where are we right now? Are we actually seeing some profit taking, and can there potentially be more upside as we head further into 2024? Hey guys, Joey here, top tier reminder, trader in Philips Securities, and in this video I'll be talking about the three Singapore local banks, DBS, OCBC and UOB, which I covered it last month, and every month we kind of do one video on them, and we'll look at the banks again in terms of the technical analysis of the charts. Where are we right now? How is the trend looking like? Where could selling actually appear again? Right. So let's take a look at the three banks. If you're looking to buy, looking to sell, no idea what to do, I believe this video will give you a better idea. So let's dive into the first bank, which should be DBS. Okay, so here is DBS trading at about $35.59. So not too bad. You can see that for DBS, we have staged a really good rally since March. There was some pretty good announcement in terms of their results. We have some dividend as well, and there was a bonus issue as well, and price has gone even higher. So one of the best performing banks, I would say, among the three local banks. And you can see right now we are pretty much at an all-time high. We have breached the previous high that we've seen about 2 years back, somewhere around that 33. So let me go ahead to draw some resistance that we can see right over here, somewhere around that $33.50. That was where we were just about 2 years back, and we kind of neared it as well just about 2 months back, came back down, and finally, right, we have breached these $33 to $33.50 resistance levels. That is a good thing. It shows that buyers are prepared to lift it off, all right, and break to a higher consolidation phase, and that's what we're seeing right now, right? And in terms of the trend, so you can see that for DBS, we have been consolidating, I would say, sideways, like I've mentioned in my previous videos as well, right? And the range was pretty much right over here from about 33, maybe even 32.50. You can see since 2022, up, down, swing up, right? Went all the way up, retested, came back down, neared it a couple of times, came back down, and finally, right, just in March or maybe beginning of the year, we started to see strength coming back again, right, with signs of the uptrend actually forming. So since about 2 years back, right, as I mentioned, it was pretty much sideways with the longer term moving average, like the 100 days moving average, and also the 200 days moving average, the blue line. Both of them were pretty much pointing sideways, crossing up and down, beneath and above one another. But right now you can see that as we breach to a new high above that 33.50, right, there are already signs of the uptrend forming clearly, all right, in terms of the 100 days moving average above the 200 days moving average. So that's a sign of strength. It shows that it could be a beginning of the uptrend. That means we have finally got out of this 2 years sideways consolidation, and we're now prepared to hit even higher, all right, even higher, and that's a good thing. So where would be kind of like a new support level? Well, I would say that the support level would be at about $33.50, because that is pretty much the resistance that we have reached. So now that would be like the support level, but it seems like over the past 2 weeks to 3 weeks, support have gone even higher. We did not even hit up to like the 33.50. I think in fact right now maybe we can just shift it up. 34 seems like a good support. In fact, over the past 2 weeks, let me go ahead to draw another higher support level right here. You can see that. Okay, let me just zoom it in for you, right? You can see that over the past 2 weeks, we have found a higher support, maybe at that $35. So 35 was where it was consolidating somewhere in April for like about a week. Pump, right? We broke above it, all right. I think it was ex-dividend on 9th of May, came back down. So this was kind of like a dip due to ex-dividend, but prices were still holding above this resistance turn support level right over here. You can see this is pretty much a new support level at about that $35. And you can see that for this $35, it also coincides with where the 20 days moving average line is. So this 20 days moving average line is a green line, all right. It represents what we call the short-term trend, right? And when this green line is pointing up with prices above it, well, I would say that the short-term trend still looks quite good. And you can see that this green line, it has been pointing up since like February, right over here. It was like down a little bit, but since February, and that's where I started to see strength coming back in the markets as well. And since February, you can see prices push up above the green line, away from it, and this green line has been sloping up all the way to where we are right now. And right now it is still sloping up. As I mentioned, it kind of like coincides with this $35 support level. So my take for DBS is that it still looks pretty bullish. In fact, one of the most bullish bank among the three, right? And if we will hold above that 35, or maybe if you want to give it a little bit of allowance, maybe above that 34 to 35, I think there could still be more upside. The uptrend looks intact. Not just the longer term trend is up, but also the short term trend is up as well, right? So where are some levels of selling we have seen, right? I think that right now maybe towards that 36. Look at this, right? So 36 for the past 2 weeks, it seems like some selling is coming back. You can see a couple of red bearish candlestick bars coming out, went down, right? Ex-dividend came back down. But yeah, I think somewhere around like 36. Now we are 35.55, just somewhere in the middle. But that would be what we call the range right now, from 35 to maybe 36. So it might just consolidate a while, right? I mean, the fact that it's gone up by quite a fair bit over the past 3 weeks to a month. We might want to consolidate, take a little bit of a breather, all right? And then maybe even break that 36 to push even higher. So that's DBS right here. I think it looks pretty bullish. Anything above that 35 or maybe even 34, right? The uptrend looks intact, all right, and it still looks pretty bullish. So guys, if you like this video, go ahead and give me a like, smash the subscribe button or the follow button. That would be really helpful to the channel, and thank you so much for doing that. And if you want to get some of these ideas, so we actually covered these banks like DBS, OCBC by WhatsApp. We send it daily to our clients, not just the banks but other stocks as well. And if you want to get ideas like this on a daily basis by WhatsApp, make sure you click on the link below, find out how you can become a VIP client of mine in Philip Securities, whereby we share some of those top ideas by WhatsApp daily, all right, for free, and you do not need to pay anything more. I mean, if you are trading in Singapore, in a US market or the Singapore market, you need a trading account. So if you're not getting any service from your own broker, do check out the links right below, and that's where you can get some of my ideas much faster by WhatsApp daily. All right, so let's dive into OCBC right now. So you can see that this is OCBC at about $14.31. So you have been following me on my YouTube videos. I've covered the banks almost every single month one time, and I've been talking about for OCBC this very key resistance level, the $13.50 that we have been trading below for more than 2 years, right? So in fact, just a couple of months back we were still below it, but finally we broke above that 13.50. Look at this, right? 13.50, we kind of like neared it, came down. Somewhere in February, we neared it, came back down. So that was a very key resistance level. Like, for DBS, I talk about that $33.50, $34, right? So same thing, this happens to be $13.50 for OCBC. So whenever we are capped below resistance level, and there are signs of an uptrend already forming, well, when or if that resistance were to give way, all right, when there are signs of an uptrend forming, that would be a good thing. It means that buyers are prepared to not only take out the entire sellers, but they are prepared to also buy at higher prices, and that's where we might see the uptrend actually continuing to a higher phase. That means we might actually get out of this like 2 years consolidation phase into a higher phase, and that is a good thing for this stock as well. So OCBC seems like it is showing that as well. Over the past like 2 months, since like March, we have broken out of these $13.50. As I mentioned, right, there are already signs of an uptrend before we even broke the 13.50. Well, just by looking at the low, so I've mentioned it in my previous video as well, you can see that this is what we call higher lows, right? Higher lows. Let me just put this in green in color. This is what we call like a channel support line connecting the lows over the past 2 years. So you can see that we have been forming higher lows, and that's the reason why this green line is pointing up. So a very gentle, I would say, uptrend since about 2 years back, but we're still kept below that 13.50. And finally, right over here somewhere in March, we broke that $13.50, and that's a good thing, right? We actually stayed above it for like about 2-3 weeks, retested it, and now we are making our way up. So this $13.50 was a very key resistance, and this would now be a support level. So just last week, in fact, when prices actually approach this level, I mentioned that was where some bargain hunting can actually happen again. Right over here, so you can see that we actually dipped down, all right, and then buyers came back and started to push back up. So this $13.50 would be a very good support level right now. I mean, resistance turned to a support. Let me just turn it to green in color. And what about a resistance level? So over the past 2-3 weeks, it seems like we've seen a little bit of resistance right over here. So this would be a red line as a resistance level, somewhere around that $14.50 and 50 cents, 14.50. Why? Well, we can see that just I would say in May, right, about 2 weeks back, right over here, we saw a pretty bearish candle. You can see buyers came out in the morning, went all the way up, but it started to push down, and we end up with something like a bearish spinning top right around that $14.50. Same thing right over here, another one. Past 2 days, it seems like some bearishness is coming back as well, as we are pushing away, all right, from this $14.50 resistance level. So anything above that 13.50 looks quite good, but just take note that we are seeing a little bit of profit taking near the $14.50. So if we can breach that 14.50, I think not too bad, right? We might even push higher. It might start to consolidate even higher towards the 15 to even $15.50, right? The fact that we have came down, retested and pushed back away, all right, above that 13.50 again right over here. So that's a good thing. It shows that buyers are prepared to always come in again on dips. On any dips, they're coming in and they're pushing back up again to the resistance, and hopefully we retest that level and breach to a new high. All right, and longer term trend, I mean, since last year, as I mentioned, very gradual uptrend just by looking at what we call the moving averages, right? The red and the blue line, both of them have been pointing up since last year, right? In fact, but the short-term trend is looking at the 20 days moving average, the green line. You can see right now it is still kind of like pointing up with prices above it, so it looks quite good, right? In fact, I think that if we were to breach above that $14.50, this green line right here will continue to point up, right? Continue to point up, and that's a good thing. It shows that the short-term trend is up, is firmer, all right, and we might even push higher. But if we were to kind of like consolidate and continue to stay below this 14.50 resistance level, well, that is where we might see some short-term consolidation, and this green line may even start to flatten out, like right over here, which is healthy as well. I mean, it's good to see a bit of consolidation before attempting to breach higher. I think that would be a much more healthy uptrend. All right, so let's take a look at the final Singapore bank, and that would be UOB. So it looks a little bit different compared to like DBS and OCBC. Well, because you can see that for UOB, we are still kind of like below the previous high. About 2 years back, you can see we saw a little bit of high right over here, somewhere around that $33, somewhere around that $31.50. So we are kind of like still below that 2 years high. We are in a little bit of a consolidation still, whereas for DBS and even OCBC, I mentioned that we have breached the previous high and we have consolidated, or we have pushed to a new multi-year high. So that's a good thing. Whereas for UOB is still a little bit of a reversal mode back to potentially retest the previous high we've seen over the past 2 years. So let's see where we are right now. I think UOB is at about $30.12, right? So we are back to this resistance level. So let me go to draw it for you. I think this level would be somewhere around that $31.50. So that is right now the resistance level, like I mentioned, right over here, we somewhere around end of 2022 or early 2023, we touched it, came back down, and maybe even another resistance level right here that was in 2022 as well, that $33. And you can see, right, just about 2 weeks back, or maybe just last month, we headed to this level. Same thing right over here, right over here, we headed to that level, and sellers came back and we started pushing back down again. So around that $31 to $31.50, I think potentially that's where some selling can come back again, like what we've seen over the past over year. All right, yeah, that is pretty much the resistance level. What about some support level that came out over the past few weeks? Well, I would say that support level have gone higher, so that's a good thing. At least we are seeing some signs of the trend turning up as well. Of course, not as fast as DBS and OCBC, but at least there are some signs of a higher support being found over the past 4 to 5 months. So support used to be like $27. You can see it became slightly higher, around $28 right over here, and it became somewhere around $29 as well, and right now it seems like it is a little bit higher. So support have gone in a little bit higher, so that's where we are seeing some signs of the uptrend gradually forming as well. And in terms of the longer term trend, same thing like DBS and OCBC, we have finally seen that crossover, right, between the 100 days moving average, the red line, and the blue line, and both of them are pointing up. So it could also be just the beginning of an uptrend forming. All right, of course we need to break this $31.50, like I mentioned, for it to continue even further, right? So in terms of the support level, I think Let's take a look. I think maybe somewhere over here, right? Somewhere over the past 2-3 weeks, it seems like $29. So let me just draw it for you. I think somewhere over here, $29.50, $29.60. We saw a couple of bullish candles right over here, whereby we got long shadows at the bottom. That means buyers came back and pushed it back up again. So anywhere near $29.50 to even $30, it seems like buyers are slowly starting to come back, maybe all the way back up to that $31 to $31.50. So that is UOB, right? Good that we found a little bit of support, but it seems like profit taking have came back. We are now back towards the support, and seems like buyers are starting to bargain hunt as well, right? So this UOB, a little bit different from DBS and OCBC, but at least there are signs of it, in terms of the reversal slowly happening right now. Alright guys, there we have it. These are pretty much the 3 Singapore local banks, DBS, OCBC and UOB. So I've dived into the charts for 3 of them. We dived into some of the key levels to take note of as well. So I hope that you have watched this video all the way to now. You have a clearer picture of where we are looking right now in terms of the trend, in terms of some good support where some bargain hunting can come back again, and maybe even where to get out as well if we hit towards our targets that I talk about. Right, so Joey here. Thank you so much for watching. As I say, if you found some value in this video, go ahead to give me a like, smash the subscribe or the follow button as well. That will really help out the channel, and thank you so much for doing that. And the same thing, right, as I mentioned, if you want to find out a little bit more on how you can get some of these ideas, right, not just on the banks, but some of those Singapore top ideas by WhatsApp daily. We do share some of these ideas by WhatsApp daily with my VIP clients in Philips Securities, and no additional cost. So click on the link below the video to find out a bit more if you're not a client of mine yet, and that's where my team will reach out to you.